In a world of fast fashion and acrylic expensive clothes, learning how to sew is an act of rebellion and a form of self-care. I'm going to show you everything I made for summer without spending hundreds on fabric. So if you've been thinking about learning to sew or you've lost your sewing motivation, I hope this video inspires you to start making clothes you'll actually love wearing. I started sewing in 2023, but I didn't begin making clothes until my second year. Today I'm showing you every summer garment I've made in the order I made them so you can see exactly how my skills evolved over time. Without further ado, let's start with a fashion show. This was the very first dress I ever made. If you've been here since the beginning of my sewing adventures, you might remember the struggle this project was. I actually made the whole thing inside a camper van with barely any space and without an iron. Looking back, there are definitely things I would change, but it's incredibly comfortable and I still wear it. To this dress, I awarded the prize for the most uncomfortable sewing space. I think I'm going to give awards to some of my projects. What surprises me most about this dress is that I made the effort of making the seams pretty from the outside and the inside. I hardly ever do that anymore. Either I'm unlearning or I'm not such a perfectionist as before. Also, this was my first time sewing pockets. To practice making clothes, I challenged myself to sew an entire summer wardrobe for my sister's birthday using nothing but a bedsheet. I don't have any of the pieces anymore because they were all gifts for her, but it was one of the best learning experiences I've had because I had plenty of chances to mess up and start over again. If you're starting out, old bedsheets are the perfect place to practice without the fear of wasting expensive fabric. It gets the award of best learning experience. Oh, my patchwork dress. I made this to wear on my birthday and it's one of my favorite makes till this day. It makes me feel like a fairy, 12 out of 10. This skirt was technically made for fall, but I wear it in summer too. I made it in a single afternoon from another bedsheet. The pockets are a bit tiny, and I wish I had made the top tier slightly wider, but considering how quick it was, I'm pretty happy with it. 6 out of 10. Then I got a little overconfident and decided denim would be fun. It was not. I broke so many needles making this vest. The armholes ended up too tight, and if I'm honest, I almost never wear it anymore. It gets the most broken needles award. In the same video, I made this patchwork tired maxi skirt, and this one I do use a lot. In fact, it might be the most worn skirt. It's entirely made of thrifted shirts, just like my green patchwork dress. I wear it so much that it's already covered in stains, and that makes me a little bit sad, but I guess that's proof it was worth making. 10 out of 10. After that, I somehow convinced myself I was ready to sew a vintage nightgown from the 1940s. I was not. Not ready for vintage instructions, not ready for slippery fabric, and not ready for adding invisible zippers. But I did learn what a difference it makes to sew on the bias, and somehow it actually turned out beautifully. The shoulders slide off a little bit and the zipper could definitely be better, but I've worn it to several weddings and people always compliment it. This one taught me to shift from let's not do anything because it has to be perfect right away to meh, nobody but me is going to notice anyway. Then I made matching pajamas for me and my partner, although full disclosure, my mother-in-law helped a lot with the shirts. This one wins the Smallest Pockets award because somehow I made the pockets so tiny neither of us can fit a hand inside. Next was a simple top made from a second-hand shirt. I made it trying to recreate this top I made, which I did not include before because I can't remember when I made it. Unfortunately, I made the new version just a little too fitted, and by a little, I mean I can barely breathe when I have my period, if you know what I mean. So I ended up giving this away, 5 out of 10. Then came the famous mustard trousers. Every time I wear these in a video, someone asks where they're from, and I get to proudly answer that I made them. I plan to learn pattern making someday, and when I do, this will be one of the first patterns to share with you. They are loose, super comfortable, and have a clean waistband at the front. 10 out of 10. In the same video, I recreated a vintage skirt inspired by a thrifted Laura Ashley skirt. This one is just perfection. I believe this might be the only piece I made with this type of waist. I always make my waist with elastic, but this one has a pretty well done zipper and a button. And there are no raw edges on the inside. Both sides look good. Again, this makes me wonder if I'm learning in reverse. 12 out of 10. The week we adopted our cat Momo, I made this dress from a bedsheet. It was such a calming project, slow sewing, cute little details, no pressure. It's become my favorite dress for really hot days. I made this replicating one of my favorite dresses using one of my grandma's bedsheets. And a year later I used it again, I'll show you later. Then I made my first shirred top. It takes forever to make the shirring, but it was surprisingly easy and I wear it all the time with my patchwork skirt. I used a rectangle leftover piece from my blue skirt. 10 out of 10. Now we're getting into the things I made this summer. I started a summer wardrobe series and ended up sewing a lot. First was this romantic lace top made from a plain white bedsheet. I think it's so pretty that I've barely worn it because I'm scared of staining it, which completely defeats the purpose of making clothes to wear. The ruffles could be more even and the hem isn't perfectly level, but I'm still really proud of it because I learned how to make pin tucks. For the next two projects, I was lucky enough to be gifted some linen from Blackbird Fabrics. It was my first time not using thrifted or outlet fabrics, and I could definitely feel the quality difference. I always find a lot of cotton quality sheets, but only once I found linen while thrifting. With the first fabric, I recreated my favorite pair of trousers, but added little ruffles at the hem because if I'm making my own clothes, I might as well make them a little more whimsical than the originals. With the second linen, I recreated another favorite top from my wardrobe. One of my favorite sewing tricks is copying clothes I already wear constantly. You save money on patterns and you already know the garment is comfortable. Also, I've learned that the simpler the design, the more I wear it, so I'm growing into a very practical sewist. I used some leftover fabric to make these little neck scarves that double as hair bandanas. They are beginner friendly, take almost no fabric, and I use this so much at the start of summer to avoid getting a cold. My neck is very sensitive to the cold. 10 out of 10, you should absolutely make a few. Then I realized most of my wardrobe was still oversized men's t-shirts, so I made this color block mix and match top by Matchy Matchy. I love the color combination, but the fabric wrinkles so easily that I don't reach for it as much as I'd like. This reversible ruby vest was such a fun project and actually easier than I expected. Unfortunately, it turned out much bigger than I wanted. Sydney Graham's patterns tend to run large on me even when I size down. I forgot to show how I fixed it on that video. Instead of unpicking the whole thing, I folded the fabric under the arm and called it a day. This made it a little snug over oversized t-shirts, but it does fit me much better. I haven't worn it much because it's too hot to wear 2 layers in this time of the year, but I think I will wear it much more in spring and autumn. Then I made this shirred boat neck top using the same fabric as my lamp, which still makes me laugh every time I wear it. It took forever to sew, but it's simple, colorful and whimsical. Who wore it better, me or the lamp? Heatwave after heatwave made me realize I only owned one pair of actual shorts that are not pajamas, so I made these lace trim shorts from a thrifted shirt. Ah! I just realized one leg has the hem on the reverse. I reused the shirt's original bottom hem and I must have sewn one leg with the right side facing out and the other with the wrong side facing out. That's so funny. I've been wearing them for weeks now and only just noticed, so I guess it's not that obvious after all. I made another pair using a thrifted bedsheet, this time a little bigger, with ruffles at the hem. These are super comfortable. If anything, I probably made them slightly too roomy, but I'd much rather that than too tight. I don't have them anymore, but I also made shorts for my nephews and for my mom. They are just so practical. If you're learning how to sew, this could be your first piece of clothing. Wait until you see this one. It is one of my favorite projects of all time, my convertible bloomers. I used my grandma's bedsheet again and made them super wide, and they can be worn in 3 different ways. As wide pants, as bloomers tied at the ankles, or just shorter. To be honest, I never use the short version, but it's fun to know I have this option if I sometimes need to join a pirate crew. Just by showing you this is making me unexpectedly emotional. It still feels a little overwhelming that I can make and even design my own clothes. And this fabric came from one of my grandmother's old bedsheets, so it's even more special. Sorry about that, I'm okay now. I swear these are happy tears. We're getting close to the end with this sheer cape I made for weddings. Some parts of the hemming could be cleaner and the cut isn't perfectly straight, but apparently nobody notices because I got so many compliments when I wore it. The best part is that it matches all my wedding guest dresses. And finally, the last piece of my summer wardrobe will be my birthday dress. I found the most beautiful linen bedsheet for just 15 euros, and that's what I want to use. The making of this dress will be the final episode of my summer wardrobe series. Although my boyfriend insists the series need one more chapter where I saw some summer clothes for him. What do you think? Should we squeeze in one last summer project with men's clothes? Or is it already time to start dreaming about autumn sewing? I will be taking a couple of weeks off for my birthday, so we'll get into our regular content on September. Looking at everything together is a little bit surreal. 3 years ago I had no idea how to sew, and now most of my summer wardrobe is handmade. I also have some clothes I flipped, but here I only included the garments I made from scratch. I hope this video shows you that you don't need to be an expert to make clothes you genuinely love. Every project taught me something, especially the ones that didn't turn out exactly as I planned. Most of these pieces have their own videos on my channel, so I will leave the full playlist in the description. Please comment down below which one is your favorite. Momo likes this one because it has straps to play with. I love you all so much and I will see you in my next video. Adeu!